If you were among the listeners who joined us last night at a special private screening of the movie American Sniper, thank you for being there. We hope the discussion afterward, featuring members of the military sharing their perspectives and experiences, was helpful, especially when it comes to the conflicting opinions about the late Navy SEAL Chris Kyle's work as a sniper. He is regarded by his brothers in arms as a hero. There are many heroes who have come home from combat in Iraq and Afghanistan. NEOPAT, the Northeast Ohio Foundation for Patriotism, was founded to enhance the support systems available to local military personnel and their families, and to increase awareness and appreciation for the ongoing acts of patriotism in this region. More than $250,000 were donated last year to support patriotism and help local military families. Families like that of Alex and Mallory Hayworth, who just spent their first Christmas in their new house, a house made possible through the intervention of NEOPAT. We spoke to the Hayworths about how they had unknowingly purchased a house that was uninhabitable when NEOPAT first got involved in 2013, and now to update us on the Hayworth story and on the efforts of NEOPAT is its president and co-founder, Mike Swallow. Mike, thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Jim. How you doing?
I'm well, thanks. So the Hayworths, I would assume, are happy in their house?
The Hayworth family is ecstatic. They are got the opportunity to spend. We got them in right around middle of November. It took about 1 year to rebuild the home with the support of over 100 local community corporations and VFWs and corporations. And we were able to hand over the keys, our brand new home, to them for them to enjoy with their two young children their first Christmas season.
The house they purchased was not inhabitable because of a black mold problem, correct?
Yeah, it was uninhabitable, and they had a situation where it was determined by experts that it was better just to knock the house down and start over, if you can believe that. And Alex, if you remember the story with the listeners, we talked on with the listeners about a year ago, raising awareness, and Alex was in Afghanistan, was hit by a suicide bomber, spent 9 months in rehab, moved back to Olmsted Falls, which is where him and his beautiful wife and daughter were from, and purchased this home, and at that point it was determined to be uninhabitable, and they were really in a bad financial situation, and thanks to the local community and giving back to one of their own, NEOPAT was able to help them get back into a new home and start the rest of their life and move on with all the things that you do with your young kids.
How were you able to find out about the Hayworths and the problem that they had with their house?
Yeah, actually, there was an article written by Regina Brett, the Plain Dealer, and she had brought to the forefront the situation that this family was in. They were facing bankruptcy. They were running out of options, and they didn't want any help. It's typically what you find with the military families is they want to try to figure it out themselves. They want to do, they're not looking for help. They're looking to serve. And their pastor notified Regina Brett of the situation, and she wrote a beautiful article explaining their situation. And literally within a few hours, we had a number of our supporters forwarding it on to us to let us know about the situation, and we stepped in to try to help out as best we could, and we were able to help them in a variety of ways.
So NEOPAT was formed prior to the Hayworths being brought to your attention?
Yeah, the NEOPAT has just celebrated its 4th anniversary on December 31st. We're entering into our 5th year, and we were put together to support local military families in their time of need. And the Hayworth situation is definitely one of those times of need where we've been able to step in and help.
That would, I would assume, be your highest profile assistance so far.
Yeah, up to this point, we get a lot of requests for assistance with mortgages, assistance with utilities, sometimes a car situation. Maybe they've got a medical situation that's requiring some assistance with a ramp that needs to be built. We've got some great corporations that support us. The Home Depot Foundation, for example, that has helped us in the past and helped us with the Hayworth family, actually, and bringing their folks out and helping us do some construction and donating materials to help us in amazing ways to give back to the community.
So there's a lot of in-kind donating going on.
Yeah, we had a tremendous. The Hayworth family, if you can think about a brand new home, I mean, taking it down to scratch from you had to put a foundation in, to prepping the site, to electrical, heat. There's some things we have to pay for because people have small businesses and they got to pay for labor and supplies. But we got a lot of things donated in kind, and NEOPAT was the largest financial supporter. So in addition to the in-kind gifts, we also donate a lot of financial dollars to help them get back in their home.
Mike Swallow is with us, president of NEOPAT, the Northeast Ohio Foundation for Patriotism, talking about his organization and how for the past 4 years it's been helping members of the military returning from service in Iraq and Afghanistan and helping their families, like the Hayworth family and the house that they have now occupied with the help of NEOPAT and many of your partners. You work with a number of organizations. You mentioned Home Depot, but that's not the only one. There's an organization called Honors, Housing Our Nation's Outstanding Returning Soldiers, which got involved with the Hayworths, I understand. Yeah,
Honors is a national organization that is out of New York, and the gentleman that started that organization, Charlie Vickers, actually was a superintendent in the 9/11 cleanup, and was helping families locate their loved ones, and was so moved by what happened and felt like he wanted to give back. They started a not-for-profit that specializes in rebuilding homes. Typically, it's rebuilding a home that's already existing. This was from scratch. This was their first complete home build, and they ran They provide a lot of assistance with the construction of the home. There's another gentleman by the name of Jeff Ritchie with the VFW out in North Olmsted, who's now retired, but had 30 years of experience in running operations and managing construction projects for commercial buildings. And Jeff took over as the foreman on the job and basically helped coordinate all the different contractors and focus on bringing anybody that's ever built a home or has done anything like that. Half the challenge is just coordinating all the different groups so they can come in at the right time when you're ready for them. And Jeff did a fantastic job in the VFW and on the west side, along with Strongsville, Medina. We're very big supporters of the Hayworth family. Last time you were here, Mike, you were with the Hayworths, Alex and Mallory, and they explained the situation with the house they purchased.
We had several mold experts come in when we discovered it, and through the process of determining what it would cost to remediate the mold and fix the house, it exceeded the value of the house that we bought, and so it just became a better decision to build new rather than to repair that house.
Doesn't insurance cover it?
Insurance wouldn't cover it because it was considered a pre-existing condition. The mold was there before our insurance policy got on the house, which is correct.
Of course, you didn't know the mold was there, otherwise you wouldn't have bought the house.
No, it was a brandly remodeled house. It looked great inside, so no, we didn't know the mold was there.
All right, who discovered the mold?
That would be me and my then 1-year-old at the time. We were moving in, and I brought in some toys for her to play with. So while we got some boxes in, and I got on the floor with her, and I looked down, and all of a sudden I saw some fuzzy stuff, and I immediately thought to myself, oh, please no. And then I immediately went and got Alex, and we came in, and we looked around, and we slowly found that it wasn't just in her bedroom, it was everywhere.
This must have really been devastating in that you had just gotten back to Northeast Ohio after a long period of rehab, right, Alex?
Right. I was injured in April 2012.
Oh, okay.
And we got back to Olmsted Falls around September, and I was still on active duty. I had just been removed from Walter Reed to what they call community-based warrior transition unit. So I was able to go home and finish my medical care at the VA in Cleveland and Parma. And on active duty for about another 6 months, and we closed on the house in November. So I had been home for about 2.5 months.
So this was less than a year ago.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Are you still going through rehab?
My rehab's finished at this point. There's injuries and chronic pain, things like that. They'll always be there. But I'm about as good as I'll get at this point.
I mentioned broken bones. What exactly did you break?
I broke my right arm, the humerus.
Which wasn't very.
No, it wasn't. Took me a second to get that.
Sorry.
I broke both bones in my lower leg, my tibia and my fibia, and then I had shrapnel wounds all over. So I some fractured bones in my feet and other places.
And the brain injury?
I get headaches, things like that, but I'm still able to function.
Yeah.
Pretty normally.
How about PTSD? Any of that?
A little bit, but thanks to having a loving wife and family and things like that, I'm able to get through it.
Alex and Mallory Hayworth talking about the house they thought would be their dream house, the house they purchased that they weren't able to live in. In fact, they had to destroy that house, completely demolish it, and build from scratch. Thanks to NEOPAT, they were able to do that.
Yeah, the home was demolished. It was determined it was going to cost more money to try to fix it because the whole house was uninhabitable. So as a result of that, you needed a variety of expertise is brought to the table to assist, from fundraising to community support to coordination of construction to specific skills to put the home back up in a timely manner. And can't be more proud of the community and more proud of their response for one of our own.
Were the Hayworths able to pursue any legal course of action for purchasing a house that was uninhabitable?
Yeah, what I would tell you is that part of that process is something that we're not involved in, and candidly, I think it was settled privately, so I'm not quite sure what happened there. And the reason that we do that is because we're focused on getting the family back in their home, and whatever that situation was, they work through it. So they have a settlement that they worked out, and that's why the home was uninhabitable, and then we'll leave it at that.
Understood. As mentioned at the onset, you donated more than $250,000 to support different individuals and organizations and acts of patriotism in 2014, correct?
Correct. Yeah, we donated. We found 20 families or 20 kids for scholarships. It was $100,000 that were donated for either current or future youth scholarships through a national organization called Folds of Honor. $150,000 in cash that was used to help families. There's 7,000 reservists in Northeast Ohio in a 20-county area. So if you think about 20-county area, you look at the map, and you look at Ashtabula, come all the way across the lake to Cedar Point and Sandusky, come south down through Mansfield, and then go just south of Canton in those 20 counties. There's 7,000 reservists that serve in military units that are based in those communities. So we supported all of those organizations through some morale efforts around the holidays. We sponsor a number of remembrance projects. The Brad Squires Memorial Plaza in Middleburg Heights. Brad, unfortunately, lost his life serving his country a few years ago. And his mom, Donna, who's a beautiful woman, in his memory, created a memorial. And it's difficult to put into words or perspective, but just to give the listeners an idea, there's been 108 young men and women over the last 10 years that have lost their lives in this 20-county area protecting our freedom. And remembrance projects like these are ways for us to remember those that we've lost and make sure that we never, ever forget their sacrifice, because freedom is not free. And I think everybody that's listening here would agree with that. And their spirit lives inside of NEOPAT. And we, to honor those young men and women, we do what we do to support local military families in the community in the basic emergency morale and health needs that they may have.
NEOPAT is the Northeast Ohio Foundation for Patriotism. Mike Swallow is its president. We're speaking with Mike about the work NEOPAT does and has done for military families. You mentioned the 20 scholarships awarded last year, Mike. These are, I assume, to children of veterans?
Yes, and actually I'm very excited to announce that we have another $100,000 to donate this year. And what I'd like to, for all listeners that are out there, if they know of someone that has been, that is now a veteran of the military, it means they've been honorably discharged, and they have some level of disability rating, as low as 10%, and they have young children or even children that are older that are going to either in school or they're not. It's not just college; it's also for education expenses in their elementary and high school years. if you're aware of somebody, please reach out. Go to our website at neopat.org, and you can neopatriotism. Neo@neopatriotism.org is our email address. Email us and let us know, and we'll get you in contact with the right people and work you through the paperwork. And we've got 20 more scholarships to give away. They're $5,000 scholarships a year for military families that qualify in the Northeast Ohio area. And we'd love to get 20 and get those back out into the community as soon as possible.
How do you fund those scholarships, Mike?
We partner with a national organization called Folds of Honor. Folds of Honor raised $10 million last year to provide scholarships. Dan Rooney, who's the founder of that organization, is a friend of NEOPAT's. He spoke at last year's gala for NEOPAT.
Dan Rooney, the Steelers owner?
No. We're from Cleveland. We don't associate with anybody down in Pittsburgh. Dan Rooney is actually a former Air Force pilot and is from Oklahoma City. And for those of you that have ever around Memorial Day, have ever played in the Patriot Cup, it's your local golf course. It's a national not-for-profit to provide scholarships to military families. The challenge is they're raising money, but they need people in the community to connect these families with these scholarship opportunities. And so what we do is we have a grassroots effort with NEOPAT. We call it the NEOPAT movement, and everything we do is grassroots since we're an all-volunteer organization. And what we look to do is we look to find those families that would qualify and connect them with Folds of Honor and they've identified $100,000 that they will offer to Northeast Ohio families through NEOPAT. So we're very, very excited about that partnership.
Folds of Honor, Folds, Folds of Honor?
Yes.
Folds as in a flag?
Yes, Folds of Honor, FOLDS of Honor, HONOR.org.
Right. You mentioned how Mr. Who was it, Vickers? The honors guy got involved because he had been involved with the 9/11 disaster and then helping afterwards. How did Mike Swallow get involved with NEOPAT, Mike?
You know, it's interesting. I get that asked question a lot. My father was a Vietnam veteran, and I grew up in Maple Heights, and my family. Patriotism was always important in our family. You know, stand straight when the national anthems play, put your hand over your heart, have an appreciation for those that have served. And while I did not personally serve, that was something that in my family was very, very important. At the same time, my best friend growing up, his father was a Coast Guard reservist. And if everybody remembers the first Gulf War in the early 90s, he was a reservist and was sent overseas for 9 to 12 months. I don't remember the exact amount of time now. And I saw firsthand what happens when you take a reservist who's the primary breadwinner and you take him away from his family, send him overseas to serve his country, and then what the families have to deal with back home. And that made a huge impression on me as a young person. And I remember being at Berkeley Lakefront Airport when he came home on the big plane, and I remember my father standing next to me and talking to me about the fact that when he came back from Vietnam, there was nothing like this. There was no appreciation at the same level that we have today for these young men and women. And as I got older and as I had young children myself, I wanted to be a role model and example to them. It just made sense to me to give back to the community in a way that was something I was very passionate about, but something I knew others would be very passionate about as well. And that's where NEOPAT came back, because we knew that military and patriotism is important. It's something that all of us want more of in our life, and so for some reason, some of those things are kind of going away. So this is kind of our way of giving back and making sure that we keep it as a focal point for the community. And I can tell you that they've responded in ways that we can't even believe that in this short amount of time, in 4 years, we've become the biggest financial supporter of not-for-profits for military families in the community. And it's an absolute blessing. Other
than the Folds of Honor funding, where does the rest of your money come from?
All of our funding comes from local companies, local families. We have over 150 corporations that have donated financially to NEOPAT. Our board is very involved in the business community. And so what we do is we make it very easy for corporations and local families to say thank you and express gratitude to local military families. We have over 1,200 families that have donated financially. And what really makes it great and what we really are focused on is that because we're an all-volunteer organization, the board members have determined that they are going to absorb all the administrative costs of the organization. Therefore, net of any event, so for example, if you have a golf outing, you got to pay for your golf, etc. But 100% of the money that we raise goes to the mission. We don't have any salaries. We don't have any. All the administrative costs are paid by the board, which costs a few $1,000s a year, and the board members pay that themselves.
I don't know of any other organization who can say that.
You know, there are, I'm sure, because we know that there's other great organizations out there, and I think every not-for-profit starts out that way, and then they get big enough, they have to start bringing on staff because they become too big and they need help. But we have a very, very involved board in terms of their involvement in the community, and they've all served on previous boards, and we just thought it was very, very important that if we were going to go out and raise money and ask you to donate money to our organization, we wanted you to have the comfort knowing that how much of that money was going, and we knew that 100% was the number we wanted to work towards. And so we're very, very proud of that, and we work very, very hard to maintain that on a go-forward basis. Mike
Swallow is the president of the Northeast Ohio Foundation for Patriotism, NEOPAT. You work at CBiz. What is CBiz?
CBiz is the largest company in Cleveland that nobody's ever heard of.
Okay.
CBiz is a public company. We trade on New York Stock Exchange. Or one of the 10 largest accounting firms, one of the 20 largest benefits brokers, one of the 10 and 20 largest retirement plan consultants. Basically a professional services firm that helps local organizations with managing their business.
Well, I'm looking at the list of NEOPAT board members, and all but two seem to work for the financial industry. You've got somebody from Case and a dentist, but everybody else are money people.
Yeah, we have a lot of business people that are involved in banking and benefits and investment management, and about half the board are people that I met at John Carroll when I went to school at John Carroll University, and others that I worked with at Ernst & Young, which is another large organization here in town, and then others are friends, very passionate people that just love country, love Northeast Ohio, and want to give back to those that make all of our freedoms possible.
I sense your generosity, Mike, comes from a place deep within inside you. I get the sense that you have a spirituality that kind of informs what you do.
Yeah, the faith aspect of my life with my family, faith-based instead of what we do with these young men and women in this organization. And last year's gala, I shared this story, and there's just no way in 4 short years that an organization that started from scratch, we didn't even have a logo or a name, and in 4 years later, all of these people have come into our lives on accident. There's a blessability about what's going on in this organization that is remarkable. And I've shared with, if you're familiar with Gold Star Mothers, unfortunately, are a club you never want to be part of. It's a club where your son or daughter has served and you've lost them during their service, and they've created an organization to provide support. And I've told Gold Star Mothers, I said, listen, your son or daughter is living inside this organization, and we're being blessed with our efforts in helping by being able to help others. And we really firmly believe that. We know that it's happening because there's just no way we can become this successful in this in terms of helping as many people as we are without the help from divine intervention. And we're very, very happy to be able to do that and carry out God's work. Blessability.
I've never heard that word before. You made it up, and it sounds great.
Yeah, I have a good friend of mine, Mark Pierce, that shared that word with me, and we're working hard to get that word into Webster's dictionary because it's a great word. I mean, to have a blessability, that's what we all want in life. And if we do the right things and we do them for the right reasons, God blesses us in ways that we can't really even explain.
Amen. Mike Swallow, the president of the Northeast Ohio Foundation for Patriotism, NEOPAT, updating us on their good work. Mike, keep it up.
Thank you so much. If I could just leave one last thing for the listeners. If you have more information you'd like to learn about NEOPAT, please visit neopat.org, neopat.org. And, Jim, I want to thank you for your efforts.
No problem. You have a very active Facebook page. I saw a YouTube video with the Hayworths on there. You seem to be posting something almost every day. Is it you who maintains that page?
Actually, we actually have hired an organization to do that for us, and that's a board cost. The board is paying for that organization to help us, Rosenberg Advertising.
Wow.
And they are obviously giving us a very discounted price point to help us, but they're helping us in a way that we can't do. We're busy doing what we do day to day. They understand marketing online, and really what we're trying to do is we want to have full transparency into our organization. We want people to be able to go onto our Facebook page and see everything that we've done and we're involved in. We're in the process of getting an audit that we'll have done, so you have a complete audit, financial statements, so everything that we can do to keep people comfortable with the organization. And I will tell you that on Facebook we're so excited because we're up to almost 1,500 followers. And Facebook's something new for me because I'm usually a face-to-face handshake type person.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a great way to get information out to the community, and it's been very, very well received.
Well, I just liked your Facebook page. I'm the 1,419th person to like it.
Excellent. I appreciate that. If your listeners join it, we can get over that 1,500 mark by the end of the week.
Right. The organization is NEOPAT, the Northeast Ohio Foundation for Patriotism. Its president is Mike Swallow. Mike, thanks for your time tonight.
Jim, thank you for everything you do, and thank you for the time that you spent with us.